Now we are going to talk about compiling and interpreting. And the difference is why when you double click on your Python file, it doesn't do anything. I mean, you will open it and you will see the code and that's it, because you will open it maybe with a notepad or text edit or something like that, but nothing will happen because it has to be interpreted. Otherwise, it will not work. If you're going to be working, for instance, with another software that needs to be compiled, like Pascal, and then you have to do that process first, and then once you get the executable file, it will work. So I'm going to show you here some examples. For instance, let's say that you are on Mozilla website, you want to download Firefox, and then when you download Firefox, you will have few options here, but we're going to talk maybe about that later. But this is the main thing. So when you want to download Firefox, in this case you have for Windows 64-bit, for 34-bit, and then you have for Mac OS, and then you have 64-bit, 32-bit for Linux, and a few other flavors or Windows. And also you have the different languages, so it depending on what you choose is what you're going to get. For instance, let's say if you're going to download it for Windows, you're going to get a Firefox.exe. This is the executable file for Windows, or if you're going to have it for Firefox, for instance, you're going to get the DMG, and that is how it works. So also, if you are going to get it for, let's say, for Linux, you're going to get the dev or dev. So I'm going to zoom in so that way you can see it a little bit better, but this is the extension in the case that you're running Debian or Ubuntu or something similar. If you're going to run it maybe in another distribution of Linux, you're going to get something else. So this is the main thing. So when you're compiling, you're going to have like a few advantages and few disadvantages. The advantage of compiling, for instance, I'm going to show you with another example here. You have all the lines. You know, you have the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Okay, you have all the lines. So when you are going to compile, basically what you're going to grab is all these letters, and then you're going to compile it in one file. So it could be an executable file for Windows. If you're going to interpret it, you're going to grab line by line, and it will be interpreted in the machine language. It have to be compiled in or interpreted in the machine languages. So when you compile it, it will be in machine language, and when you interpret it, it will be in machine languages as well. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you're going to send a letter to Mexico, to the president in Mexico. So they don't speak English, they speak only Spanish. So what you have to do, you have a few options. You're going to write the letter, the full letter, and then you're going to send it to maybe another company. This company, this translation company, they are going to send the letter to the president. So what they are going to do is they are going to read the whole letter, and then they are going to compile it, and then they are going to, once everything is in machine language, in machine code, they are going to give it to the president, in this case in Spanish. So basically that is what they are going to do. When you are doing the interpreting thing, so what you're going to do is this: you're going to send the letter to the president in Mexico, and what they are going to do, they are going to hire maybe an interpreter, and the interpreter will be reading line 1, and then it's going to tell to the president. Line 2 is going to tell the president. Line 3, and so on. The disadvantage of this is that it's very slow, and every time the president needs to read your instructions, he have to call the interpreter to read the instructions or the letter or whatever you want to send. So basically that is how it works in the real world. So interpreting is slower than compiling, but it has its own advantage and disadvantages. So now I'm going to tell you a few of them. For instance, when you compile the software, it's going to be faster. Like I said, the cons is that it's no cross platform. So if you want to, let's say that you want to run it on a Linux machine or maybe on Android, iPhone or something like that, it's not going to work. For instance, here I'm going to show you this software or this page. For instance, we have the editpad.org, and as you can see, this is a software. I mean, if you want to type anything here, you know, this is a nice car. This is a test. There you go. And then you have all the lines that you can see over here. And you didn't have to download any software. So you didn't have to download the Notepad, or let's say if you're going to use Google Docs or something else, you don't have to download anything. Just you go to your browser and then you can open the website, and then you have the software that whatever you want to use. So for instance, in my other class about how to become a computer technician, I'm talking about this type of services, is service as a software, and then you can buy any subscription, and then you, let's say that you want a CRM, customer relationship management, so that way you can, you know, keep track of all your customers, or maybe you want to get QuickBooks online, or maybe something like that, and then you can, you know, keep a track of all your invoices and everything. So you don't have to download any software. It's just you go to the website and you do whatever you want to do, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything. So that is the good thing. That is the good thing about this type of services, but this is the bad thing about the compiled software. So basically it's faster because you compile it once and it runs right away. The bad thing is no cross platform, like I said before. So you cannot share it with other people. If you want to share it, let's say with Mac users, and you just compile it for Windows, you will have to do the whole process again. But for Mac, and if you want for Linux, you have to do the same thing for Linux. You have to, you know, change everything. Also, if you are using the different processor, let's say you have the Apple M1 chip, or you have Intel, or you have the ARM chip, or whatever you want to use, you know, you have to always create these type of things for each platform that you want to use. Another thing, the code is more secure, or is more private, because like I mentioned before in my other videos, just in case, go to the playlist and keep watching my prior videos about this. I'm talking about that you have to keep secure your source code, because the source code, if someone steal it, you know, they can duplicate your software and they can modify it and they can claim it like their own. So that is one of the advantage or disadvantage depending on what you want to do. So for instance, in this case, if you are compiling, its advantage is a very good advantage. Nobody will be able to see the source code. And this disadvantage is, or in this case, is that every time that you have to fix some bug or something like that, or maybe improve something, you have to compile it again and again and again and again. Every time you want to modify the source code, you have to keep compiling the software, and it takes time. So that will be like a cons. And another thing, is the Pro is ready to go. You download the Excel file like I showed you before, the Firefox, and it's ready to go. That's it. Your Windows computer, done. And this is the cons is that it's an extra step every time that you have to, you know, compile it for different platforms, or you want to do something extra, you want to modify it, you have to do it again. Now let's talk about the interpreted option. So in this case, the Pro is cross platform. Like I showed you before, you have this software, you go to any software that you want, let's say CRM, yeah, you want a blogpad or calculator or anything like that, you go in using any browser on any cell phone, computer, or anything like that, the software just runs anywhere. The cons is that the interpreter is needed in that browser, so if you don't have it, that software will not work. And another thing is simple to test. So if you want to run the software because it's line by line, you can see it like right away. If you want to modify something, you don't have to compile it all over again, you know, like the other system. So you can see the results right away. If you want to add something, you can do it right away, and that's it. The problem with this, the cons, is slower, like I said before, and the other advantage is easier to debug. So if you want to fix something, it's easier. And the bad thing is the source is kind of public, because the other guy is going to see all your code. Also, you may have some leaks, and it will be more it will be easier for the other guy to steal your code. So we have some examples. For instance, software that is going to be that use this compile option, this compile method. Like I said before, you have C, C++, and Object C, and then interpreted. And the interpreted are, for instance, the other option that I said is PHP and JavaScript. Surely you have more than this, but these, at least they are the main ones. And if you want like something like is a hybrid, you can use Python, or you can use Java, and surely there are a few others as well. They use is a hybrid option, so it's something between compiling and interpreting. Usually is like the best option between those worlds, but it depends what you want. If you want something is maybe very secure and very fast, surely you're going to use compile. If you want to use something that you want to be, you know, cross-platform and easy to debug and everything, you're going to use the other method that is interpreted. So that those are your options. Hopefully you have enjoyed this class, and see you in the next one. Remember to go to the playlist to keep watching the next video.